Guys? I just wanted to shoot a quick video to update you on, I think, a couple data points that you may find helpful. I certainly have found them helpful. My plan is to put a video up, or a couple videos up, on a weekly basis in this kind of new season in our family. No excuses, but I want to work towards that. Certainly not going to let this rule the family schedule, but I do think consistency is important for what I'm aiming at. So I appreciate your help and support along the way. If you'll take time to like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, look for an opportunity to collaborate. I'm super open to that. I would appreciate it. A couple weeks ago, I planned on shooting a video at our home range that's getting worked out, and a couple of pastor friends that I'm in friendship with, but also have various levels of coaching relationship with, both ways. They came out to shoot, and it just became apparent that it wasn't the best environment to shoot a video during. I didn't want to derail the relational side of things that was going on, and that was useful. So anyway, without further ado, I want to kind of give you a couple things that I found useful. Several months ago, I don't know how many at this point, I ordered a mag carrier from Green Force Tactical that's designed for a number of locations, but I think it's specifically designed for the appendix carry position. I carry a spare mag to the left side because my dominant hand is right-handed, to the left-hand side of what would be kind of gig line, center line, belt buckle. If you had a belt buckle to the left-hand side of that, that's where I carry a spare mag. And right away, I noticed the quality of the product was great, which I'm not surprised by with Green Force Tactical. But you've probably had this situation with other products. I certainly have. I've had lots of different holsters that I've been, reviewing over the years, and just personally using over the years. And sometimes you'll have one that doesn't have that perfect amount of real estate below the belt line, and wants to, when you move, when you bend, when you're sitting and standing and driving and all this, that it has a tendency to pop out. You don't want too much below the belt line, and you don't want not enough below the belt line. And you kind of, you know that what I'm talking about, that perfect kind of magic spot. And I thought, when I looked at this design from Green Force Tactical, because they had multiple holes drilled, I thought that was probably well worked out, well squared away. But even going to the top hole for me, I kept having this situation where it would bop out. I thought, man, maybe I've got a little extra gut. I don't know, this is certainly, this is a squared away manufacturer, but I know that body types are different. So rather than kind of sending it back or talking to them about it, which I'm sure they would have supported, I started out by just putting a little wedge on the bottom section of it. This one happens to be from Tier 1 Concealment, but any wedge that was available would have been fine. Even going to the hobby store and buying one would have been fine. I had some, and some of the guys on our team have been talking about these loops, and I had a traditional soft loop on mine. I thought maybe the extra friction on the inside of that, maybe that will help. maybe a slightly different position of the loop will help. And so I put this this additional loop on, and it's been secure. It's been fine. The only thing that I would say about that is with different settings, you have to be very sure that that is locked in. It's easier to create a failure with this, in my opinion, than a push the dot kind of scenario. Once this is actually fully in place, my experience has been that it is reliable, but it is easier to not get it all the way in place, particularly if you're using too much thickness on the belt side. It has to be kind of that perfect belt for this loop, and you have to be very intentional and very aware of that going in and going down as it's intended. Once there, it's very reliable. So I changed that out, kind of two birds with one stone, and it was much better, but still on occasion, not nearly as frequent, I would get that kind of pop out, particularly on long car rides, other kind of situations. So after a couple months of that, trying different positions, trying to kind of utilize it as it was intended with very slight modification, I went ahead and just drilled a slightly higher hole. I mean, it's not even the same distance between holes as the other ones. I wanted to give myself plenty of real estate to stay well within the intended locations, and I just put the same thing up. I'll give you a measurement at some point, but if you measure measure the distance between holes, it's roughly half of that again up. And that little bit of distance with that top hole has made all the difference. I mean, it is rock solid in place, perfectly positioned for me and my body type. So if you happen to be 6'1", 6'2" in that area, short torso, long legs, this might be something that's useful for you. I know that's kind of a niche within a niche within a niche, but we're sharing information online, and I hope this is helpful to you. I would recommend this carrier from Green Force Tactical. I just want to be, fully disclosing that, like all their gear that I've seen, it's really well made. In this particular situation for me, this product it's got great retention, but it's needed some tweaking. So if you guys at Green Force Tactical happen to see this, some of us would like a little bit more distance up on that top hole, and I don't think that would be a hindrance to your average customer either. So just a data point, hopefully it's useful to you. If you get one, I wouldn't discourage you from that, but I would test it out and just be aware that you may need to make an adjustment as well. I also wanted to mention a rifle that I've had for a couple years now. I've only run one class with it, but it's running well. It's an AK from Arsenal, very standard. I haven't made a lot of changes to it. This is the 107, I think they call it, the Arsenal Sam 7, something like that. So I've changed Midwest grip, Ultimac rail, MagPul stock, MagPul grip, Holosun dot, Viking tactical light holder, and Surefire light. And this setup has done really well. I've got a Blue Force Gear sling, a Recon Medical tourniquet, just a very simple setup. What I wanted to talk about is in this particular gun, and you're probably already aware of it, but there are some of you that are probably not super familiar with AKs. I have not done a ton with AKs. This is maybe my third or fourth AK that I've owned over the years, and I primarily shoot ARs in this kind of category. But these MagPul Mags, these are the Gen 3 MagPul Mags, are very, very difficult to seat. In fact, if you first put them in, they won't seat. You have to jam them in. And so if you get these mags, my experience has been, take the new ones, and you may already know this, but you're just going to have to work them over and over and over again into place. And the more you work them, these have already been several times, but the more you work them, the easier it will get. When I can get them, my favorite mags so far for it have been these, I think they're called Circle 10 mags. Work great. These, I've got some other things. There's some inexpensive Korean mags that I'm not, they're just there. I think they came in on a trade at some point, but you know, we'll see how they do. You can tell me in the comments how they're gonna do, but so far they've been reliable, but I haven't used them very much. I've used these Theramold mags quite a bit, and they've been great. Maybe you're gonna tell me that over time they wear out or something. I'd love to hear that in the comments, but so far, having not Googled around, not kind of checked what do they look like, they were one of the only things that was available at the time that I was making a mag order, and at that particular time, and I was going into a class, and I ordered several of these, and they've been great. In fact, at that time, the P mags were what I was looking for, and they just, at that moment, I couldn't find them in time to my house in time for a class I was going to go into. So I got these Theramold mags, and they've been great. So wonder what your experience is with these. But I just wanted to mention, again, 2 small data points. One, if you get that Green Force Tactical Appendix Carry spare magazine, this is the Glock, but they make it for other. It's great. Not changing it out. I'm super happy with it, but I needed to put one higher hole, and you may too. And then secondly, if you're using these 3rd gen AK mags for MagPul, I'm not running them until I've worked these ones several more times. And I think that as I do that, they're going to be fine. But I don't want to be in that situation where I didn't seat it good enough. I know that we need to do it. Everybody's going to say, hey, you got to make sure that it's really positive. It's really positive. And I know that. But look, we also want to stack the deck to our advantage. And you don't want to create opportunities for failure. So that's getting better with every use. But a few days ago with these magazines, that wouldn't happen. I mean, you had to really like wrench it down. So just be aware. You may already be aware, but there are people always getting started, and you never know which point of information they're going to find. So it's good for us all to share information, and you never know who's going to listen to me that may not listen to you, and who's going to listen to the next guy that may not listen to me. So share the love, continue to put the good news of the information about training that you've discovered out into the world, and see who is attracted to it. I'm going to continue to do that, and I'm going to do it with greater frequency because this community, this culture has been really good to me. Again, thanks for those of you that happen to be friends that have been sending encouraging words, as last week I was fighting with this kidney stone thing. It sucked. I'm not going to pretend otherwise, but I am on the mend. So grateful for those words of encouragement that you all sent my way. Yeah, I think that's it for right now. Look forward to conversations going two ways on this. I know that there was a time when this particular stream had a bit of traffic, and I know for a fact from the messaging that I've gotten from YouTube that it was extremely filtered at one point, and I stopped adding content to it because it was not a primary thing for me. I realized that this is something that I missed, and so I've come back to it. Perhaps that was a strategic mistake at that time, but I'm continuing to go into that. So we have to work doubly hard to get our information out. And I know that this is not a flashy or high production value channel, but I think it will, and it has put good information out there, and it will continue to. And with your help, we will make it progressively more and more entertaining as well. I thank you again for taking time to sit and chat with me for a few minutes. I'm going to go back up, and Kimber the dog's at the door kind of waiting on me. So we're going to go do that. Hope you guys have a good one. Be well.